think it's time we blow this scene. Get everybody in the step together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Let's get started with... Fuck, what week is this? Let's get started with our first game of week 12, and that's Chris versus Kelly. Now, Kelly was trying to get herself back into playoff shape this week. However, once again, Christian McCaffrey has gone down, and unfortunately, he's out for the season now, which means Chris is going to take this week. Chris beats Kelly 129 to 115, meaning that Chris will now rise to 6-5-1, and Kelly will fall to 5-7. Next up, it's father-in-law versus son-in-law. That's right, it's Sean versus William. Now, Sean is unfortunately on the start of a losing streak as he is going to fall to his father-in-law this week. William beats Sean 136 to 110, meaning now that William will rise to 8-4 and Sean will fall to 7-5. Our next game is the holy shit, didn't see that coming this week, is David versus Caitlin. Now, David, ever since the loss of Derrick Henry, has pretty much been on the decline and was expected to stay in the consolation bracket. However, he gets a big win this week against Caitlin. Now, granted, Caitlin hasn't had the best performance this season. However, no matter who David faced this week, he would have won as he scored the most points out of anybody in week 12. David beats Caitlin 166 to 117, meaning now that Caitlin will fall to 3-9 and David will rise to 5-7, ending his 5-game losing streak. Our next game of the week is Alexa versus Justin. Now, Alexa came in pretty decently with some high expectations of potentially beating Justin. However, Russell Wilson just couldn't get it done against the Washington football team, still a stupid name, and Alexa's going to end up falling to Justin. Justin beats Alexa 127 to 110, meaning now that Justin will rise to 6-5-1 and Alexa will fall to 2-10. And our last match of the week is Kyle versus Uncle David. Now, Uncle David seemed to have the numbers on his side this week. However, Kyle, unfortunately, once again pulls off the win. Kyle beats Uncle David 148 to 128, meaning now that Uncle David will fall to 6-6 and Kyle will rise to 11-1. Now, before we go ahead and take a look at week 13, let's have a word from our sponsor, Harry's Private Ventures. Do you have a timeline at work that you're not going to meet? Do you have a school project that you've just been putting off and you need just a little bit more time? Well, Harry's Private Ventures is here for you. Here at Harry's, we offer the greatest kidnapping experience you will ever have. Here at Harry's, we follow our core principles of always individualized destination services. We make sure that your fraudulent kidnapping is the best experience you've ever had being kidnapped. We'll get you out of all kinds of situations. Presentation you didn't prepare for at work? We'll do a kidnapping. School project that you forgot was due and now you're panicking because you don't know what to do? Fake a kidnapping. Got your wife pregnant? Fake a kidnapping. So the next time you need to fake a kidnapping, think of Harry's Private Ventures. And if you're looking for investment ventures, then you should check out Harry's Investment Ventures. It's infectious how much money you'll make. Now let's go ahead and look at week 13. Starting match we have for week 13, we have David at 5-7 and Kelly at 5-7 going up against each other. The funny part is these two are going to be playing for a playoff position pretty much. So it's going to be a tough one. With Christian McCaffrey down and Derrick Henry down, let's see how these two bounce back. Good luck to you. Next up, it's the 8-4 William versus the 2-10 Alexa. William's been doing pretty good this year. Alexa's been having a rough year, unfortunately, but hey, at least you got married. You wanted life, Alexa. But William's probably going to beat you this week. Sorry. Next up, it's the 3-9 Caitlin versus the 7-5 Sean. Sean looking to bounce back after a couple losses straight. Caitlin looking not to be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but if she loses this game, she's pretty much out. So, good luck. Next up, it's the 6-5-1 Justin versus the 6-6 Uncle David. Both teams on a bit of a middle ground this year, so it'll be interesting to see how these two play off against one another. Good luck, gentlemen. And lastly, it's the rematch of the season. It's the 11-1 Kyle versus the 6-5-1 Chris. Now, as I will not let anyone forget, Chris is the only person to give Kyle a loss this season. So this is going to be a very interesting rematch. Will Kyle be able to get his revenge, or will Chris pour a little bit more salt in the wound? Good luck, gentlemen. Alright, so that's going to do it for week 12. Again, things to keep in mind. As always, these are the teams that are on a bye week this week. Also, since we're getting really close, here is the current playoff projection. We're getting to that point, people, so time to start eking out some wins. Also, remember, we just lost Christian McCaffrey for the season, which means his backup, Chuba Hubbard, is going to be up for grabs. I say this because I am a fair person, and I want everyone to have a fair shot at this. So, Chuba Hubbard is the likely replacement for Christian McCaffrey. I've already placed a claim. Good luck to the rest of you. Aside from all of that, I wish you all very good luck in week 13. Live long and prosper. Whatever happens, happens. See you next week, people. And now, an opinion nobody asked for with David. Can we talk about how season-long arcs are destroying television? Like, not every show needs to have a long, overarching, season-long plot, and if it does not need to be hammered into every episode. Like, I'm so glad some of my favorite TV shows were not made in this modern era of heavy plot streaming. Oh my god, everything has to lead up to this. Like, oh my god, like, I can't imagine Star Trek The Next Generation made on the premise of season-long arcs. Like, we wouldn't have such great things as The Defector, or The Drumhead, or The Inner Light. I mean, I think that's the problem I have with modern TV these days. Like, the new Cowboy Bebop came out, and instead of being philosophical and episodic and everything meaning something, it's just this one long arc of plotting and brooding, and it's just... It lost its entire meaning. I feel like shows like Game of Thrones and Walking Dead are the ones that are responsible for this. Like, I'm so glad shows like The Mandalorian exist, where there is an overarching plot. Don't get me wrong. But there's individual episodes that you can just watch on your own that mean absolutely nothing to an overall plot, and that you just get to enjoy that world. Like, world building is accomplished in episodes like this. And I feel like that's gone. Because now we live in the world of, what does this episode mean? What are we doing with this? Blah, blah. What is this leading to? And because of that, we're missing, like, intimate stories that just exist for the pure basis of being a good story. Now everything is this long, drawn-out arc to get to a plot that doesn't even live up to it. I mean, I'll shit on Star Trek for a minute. Star Trek Discovery Season 3, amazingly better than its previous seasons that did the same thing. But the whole burn thing sucked. I didn't care about the burn at the end of it because the burn was disappointing. I mean, the journey getting there was great, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of every show now having this long, drawn-out plot that every episode has to address. I feel like because of that, shows now don't have a soul, and it's just all about what's next. And it's not as enjoyable. It's not. And I feel like we, the audience, need to make that clear. Otherwise, it's just going to keep happening. I mean, here's hoping the Book of Boba doesn't do that. It sticks to the Mandalorian formula and has, like, individual stories. We'll see. But don't watch the new Cowboy Bebop. especially if you like the original, like I do. It sucks.